Have you been thinking about making a move here in the Denver suburbs? You know, when you do, there's a question that quietly keeps a lot of people up at night. Should I buy my next house before I sell the one I'm in, or should I sell first? And if you're doing this on your own, that question can feel heavier because getting it wrong feels expensive, stressful, or both. Today, I want to slow the decision down and help you think it through calmly so you don't get stuck. This isn't about the right answer because honestly, there really isn't one. It's about choosing a path that gives you the most clarity and the least amount of stress in today's Denver real estate market. Why this decision feels harder right now. And this decision can feel harder right now than it did just a few years ago because the market isn't behaving in clean lines anymore. Inventory, pricing, and buyer behavior aren't moving together, and that creates uncertainty. So if you're feeling stuck between selling first or buying first, that's not indecision, that's awareness. This time of year is also interesting because buyers are out there, but they're moving more slowly, more thoughtfully. What I'm seeing in the Denver market right now isn't buyers walking away, it's buyers pausing. And that pause isn't coming from negativity, it's coming from mixed signals. They're taking a breath, watching the market, and trying to make sense of a lot of information coming at them all at once. It's not pessimism, it's uncertainty, and there's a difference. And this is where that sell first or buy first question really starts to matter. And it matters because if you're thinking about buying before selling, right now, buyers often have more leverage than they realize. Homes that are on the market this late in December tend to be there for a reason, and sellers are often more open to concessions, repairs, or flexible terms. We're seeing more price adjustments, more seller credits, and more willingness to negotiate than we did just even a year or two ago. And that can work in your favor if you have a clear plan. What buying first really means. Now, buying before selling can sound appealing. You avoid moving twice, you can take your time finding the right next home, and emotionally, it can feel like you're more in control. But buying first also means carrying more uncertainty. You may be managing two homes at once. You may feel pressure to accept an offer later just to close the loop. And for some people, that's manageable. For others, especially when you're doing this solo, it becomes heavier than expected. Buying in a market like this can feel tempting because you may be able to negotiate better terms, but it also means making decisions while buyers, sellers, and headlines are all sending out mixed signals. That's where people get stuck. Not because choice was wrong, but because the uncertainty starts piling up. What selling first really means. Now, selling first tends to create clarity. You know exactly what you're working with financially. You're negotiating your next purchase from a stronger position, and there's less mental overload. However, the trade-off sometimes is timing. You may need temporary housing or a flexible plan in between. But for many solo sellers, that short-term inconvenience feels easier than long-term uncertainty. This is why I see so many smart, capable women pause at this stage. Not because they don't know what to do, but because they're trying to make thoughtful decisions in a noisy environment. And that's not weakness, that's discernment. The real question to ask yourself. Now, here's the question I encourage people to ask themselves. And it's not buy before selling house first. It's how much uncertainty am I comfortable carrying? Not financially, emotionally. Because when you're making this move on your own, peace of mind matters just as much as timing. So instead of trying to predict the perfect market moment, focus on building a plan with flexibility. A plan that says, if this happens, I'll do this. And if that doesn't work, here's my next step. That's how you avoid getting stuck. Not by guessing right, but by planning well. Hi, if we haven't met, my name's Peggy Durstoff. I'm a realtor with Live Denver Suburbs powered by HomeSmart, and I specialize in helping women 50 plus make smart, confident real estate moves, especially when they're doing it solo and they want clarity instead of pressure. If today's conversation was helpful, the next thing I suggest is watching my video over here on home upgrades that add value. It pairs really well with this discussion because it helps you avoid spending money in the wrong places before you sell. I've linked it here so you can watch it next. And if you're considering a move in the Denver suburbs, even if it's months away, subscribe to the channel. I share videos like this every week to help you make decisions without feeling rushed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.